What's going on, guys? Asian Guy here, bringing you the long-awaited tier list video post 6-year anniversary. We have got Legend Kid and Legend Basil Hawkins, who have had some time to establish themselves in the game, which is why I was holding off on this tier list. Now, we are halfway through the year, but there are still some... Well, this tier list has evolved now, guys. We have a few stipulations, and I would really appreciate if you would take your time to listen to what I have to say here before forming a final opinion. Otherwise, there might end up, you might end up embarrassing yourself in the comment section because you missed a very crucial piece of information. You can also pause the video and just read this if you want, but I will go over it very, very quickly. This tier list will take a look at the most valuable legends in the game. We are looking at captains and sailors / subs this time around, as well as supports. TLDR, all three of those categories, everything excluding PvP, is going to be important in this tier list. It has evolved. We have changed it, and you'll see in a moment, in a short moment. I will elaborate on the following here. So endgame use, this is how I rank how important each of these categories or criteria are in the game and the game modes. Endgame usage, versatility, longevity, niche bonuses are, I believe, the four most important categories right now for most players, or end game players at the least. Those over like pirate level 600, 700, 800, who are always farming the latest piece of content. These are the four things that I think are the most important. Then the second row is free-to-play friendliness, the Japanese meta, ease of use, speed, and clear rate. And to elaborate the first point here, endgame usage, this is stuff like GARP challenges, Kizuna, and special events such as damage ranking and zero stamina. Basically everything that gives you a crap ton of free resources, whether that be gems, PvP flags, socket books, guaranteed universal skill books, etc, etc. Limit break items other than treasure map mode, because treasure map mode is more about having the treasure map boosters. But GARP challenges, Kizuna, and special content basically give all of that. You want to have the best units to do that, because a lot of the times they can be very, very tricky and tedious. Then we have a look at the newest raids, newest Colosseums, and new forests. All of those, because they're the latest in the game, are always going to be very, very difficult on release. So naturally, you want to have units that can take that on. And then the least important piece here, older content such as permanent raids, Colosseums, forests, blah, 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 blah. There are some old pieces of content which is still difficult today, but naturally they do not take as much priority as new content. And of course, GARP challenges, Kizuna, special content, always top priority, because lots of free gems, lots of free items. What more can you want? So, endgame usage for me, that is going to be the most important thing. How much are you going to use this person when the new Colosseum comes out, when a new GARP challenge comes out, new forest, new raid? How much are you going to be using this person, because they are either so reliable or so dependable, they're just that good that you're going to be using them all the time. Versatility means how well can you pair up these units with other units. For example, Shanks' crew can basically go alongside so many different legend captains, but on the flip side, we're not waiting, for example, a legend captain that relies heavily on another captain. For example, the new legend Sabo relies heavily on Douglas Bullet if you want to use legend Sabo as a captain. Otherwise, he's just not very good as a captain, let's be real. And then versatility will also mean diversity as well. So how well can you use different subs on their team if you're running them as a captain? Or how well is this sub or this support good on so many different other teams? So diversity does go into versatility there as well. Longevity. Now, longevity is, for example, say we did this tier list like what? 1.5 years ago, and or just 1 year ago, and we look at Luffy Law, or we look at Snake Man V1, longevity for them, the points would be at a maximum, because they both lasted over a year, which is pretty insane for any legend to last over a year. In this day and age of power creep, if they can last that long, that's pretty damn amazing. But we're not looking at how well they lasted in the past. We're looking at how well do I personally think, or in general, the general consensus of how well are these legends going to last in the future. Because Luffy and Law, let's be real, they're going to last still a very, very long time, all the way into 2021 would be my prediction. That goes for a lot of top tier legends right now. I think a lot of them will last for a very, very long time, whether that be as a sub or as a captain. Even if they get relegated from a captain or a sub, I do think that still matters for longevity. Niche bonuses, this is like the choppers, the Buggies, the Jacks and Nels, Shirahoshis, etc, etc, V2 Katakuris, all that kind of stuff, where they have a very, very specific usage, and then not much outside of that. But I think that can be very, very important as well, because that will unlock a lot of different possibilities for you that you wouldn't have had in the previous gameplay. Second row, free-to-play friendliness, Japanese meta, ease of use, speed, and clear rate. Now, ease of use, very self-explanatory. Speed, also very self-explanatory. How fast can you farm something in? For example, carrot team's very, very fast, and that basically means more efficient with your time. Clear rate, now clear rate I have all the way at the bottom, guys, and I want to emphasize this. You should not be using captains for content they are not suited to. So if you have an int piece of content, you ideally want to be running a side captain. It would be very silly and a lack of common sense to run like a random dex or strength captain into a piece of side content, and even more, or into int content rather, or even more less common sense for you to run a strength captain into a quick boss and a quick mini boss, right? So naturally there's going to be things that certain units or certain legends or certain captains can't clear. But that's the beauty of One Piece Treasure Cruise. You don't have to rely on a single legend. Ideally, you want to have as many legends as possible so you can cover all your weaknesses. That's the whole point of having a big box. And then Japanese meta, we are focusing on the Japanese meta, guys. So if you're watching from the global side, do keep that into consideration as well. Because, for example, Luffy Sora and Sabo just came out in global, but on Japan, I would say it's very clear they're not the best legends, or probably not even in the top. You know, they're definitely not in the top 5. I don't think that's really up for discussion. Free-to-play friendliness. And I think this one is very important because in the past, I didn't account for free-to-play friendliness. But if you are not going to account for free-to-play friendliness and you assume you have every single unit in the game on an even playing field, so they're all maxed, they're all fully limit broken, all got maximum cotton candy on, etc., etc., I think that's being a little bit disingenuous, because realistically speaking, that will only cater to like less than 0.1% of the player base. And even then, who is really going to max out like all these driven units or all these shooter units other than the Giga Whales, right? Shooters, a lot of them would be amazing if you had them fully limit broken, fully rainbow, because they have barrier ped, most of them do anyway. But nobody really plays with shooters because, one, it's tedious, two, it's just a lot of wasted resources that you want to prioritize for other people. So free-to-play friendliness is also very, very important, and it also ties into the versatility point there of how many free-to-play units can you use on a certain team. For example, if you have a rainbow captain that can clear a very difficult piece of content using only free-to-play subs, whereas you have another captain who can only do it with a full-on pay-to-win team, I think it goes to show how good that other captain is that uses the free-to-play units. So yes, that is what I'm putting out there. And then last but not least, this tier list is solely for the purpose of discussion, content creation, and to have fun. It's perfectly fine. It's just my opinion. If you guys agree or disagree with it, just let me know. That's absolutely a-okay. I hope everyone has something to say. I hope it's going to stay civil in the comment section as well. But as always with every single tier list, I will be reading every single comment, so I would like to see what everyone has to say. And we are getting a bit of glare here, so I'm going to have to tint down my camera as well. So I will be right back. Ta-da! We have a completely revamped tier list. I've now renamed it to the MVP Most Valuable Players tier list because I think it's important to address both units, whether they're good as a sub, whether they're good as a captain, whether they're good as a support. This game has evolved so far now that there's so many different nuances for each of these units. For example, the Rayleigh is really good as a support and as a sub. The Sabo Mask is really good as a support, as a sub, and as a captain as well. So I want to take into consideration all of these things. But on the left-hand side, we have got units that excel mainly as a captain. And on the right-hand side, we've got units that excel mainly as a sub. On top of that, we have also got 6 rows now, all the way from S1 to S6. I thought it was disingenuous of me to leave a lot of these legends out. I would say a lot of these legends are beginning to creep back into something that I would consider would be S tier worthy when I see the letter S. I just think, okay, I have to put these legends in this category. It would feel bad to bump all of these down into A tier because we only had 4 rows before, guys. And imagine me bumping all of those units in S5 and S6 out of S tier into A tier. It would feel disingenuous of me. It would feel bad for me because I think a lot of these units are really, really, really good. I would consider them like the best of the best units in the game. And then obviously the higher up you go in this ranking here, from 6 to 3 to 1, you know, that's when you become the best of the best of the best of the best. It's also worth noting, guys, the columns are completely color coordinated. It goes in the order of strength, dex, quick, psi, and int. It doesn't make a difference what order they're in. I do not think V2 Snake Man is the best legend in the game. Big shocker. I know I have been preaching this, guys, but the best legend in the game, I have opened my eyes. And that's not a racial reference. I know some of you might think it is, you cheeky bastards. But I have opened my eyes. And I've been slapped in the face with reality. Because the best legend, overall, as a captain, as a sub, it's no contest. It's the Shanks crew. If you're on global, get excited to pull this legend. If you already went 30 multis deep for Luffy Sora or Sabo Mask, my condolences, because you should have gone 30 multis deep for this Shanks crew. Because this Shanks crew, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I can't believe I was so blind. I always said they were one of the best legends, like top 3. And at best, I had them at 2nd place. I never had them at 1st place. But now I know. What a delusional fool I was. Stupidness. Stupidness. This Shanks crew, absurd. Top tier, rainbow captain. Rainbow captain. Alright, let's go over. This is going to be off the top of my mind because I don't remember 100% what they do. Maybe I do. We'll find out. 4.5 times captain ability, captain attack boost for all units in the game. Makes Cyan Quick Orbs beneficial. And they're also a cerebral type or cerebral class. They are slashers, which are a bit of a meme, but cerebral slasher, still very, very nice. Shooter slasher on the other hand as well for the Lucky Roo side of things. But they will also have an innate, in their captain ability, 10 turn silence reduction. I feel like a lot of people forgot about that. You know, I'm not going to lie. I may have potentially have forgotten about that they have 10 turn silence reduction built into their kit. So you don't have to bring a utility unit for that. And that's pretty absurd. But it don't end there. 1.2 times HP boost. 20% damage reduction. So they have a 4.5 times attack boost. They are incredibly tanky. They have silence removal. What else could they have? Alright, they're cerebral. But what else could they have? For every perfect you hit, if you hit 6 perfects, 1,000 times their attack boost. And with the new Cotton Candy expansion, that can be, with supports as well, that can be over 2.5 million end of turn damage. You run double Shanks crew, that's 5 million end of turn damage. Now people are going to be like, oh, normal attack only. Alright, but there's still a 4.5 times attack boost. And incredibly tanky. And they have 3.5 times chain lock for 3 turns. And a chain lock is supposedly considered a debuff. I will happily take a 3.5 times chain lock debuff. 3 turns. I can carry it from the mini boss stage to the final boss stage. And it won't get cleared. Mwah! Bellissimo. Who don't like that? Oh, they also have the most broken switch ability in the game of changing your adjacent orbs into matching orbs, and they're boosting all units by 1.5 times attack. I cannot emphasize how good this is as a sub. It's a universal boost, it's a universal chain lock, and I forgot, their special ability also has 20% HP cut that goes through barriers. This man, or these men, actually Yonko level. This is a genuine Yonko level unit. And I love them. I love them. They are so absurdly broken. I try and slap them on every single team. Not only are they good in GARP challenges, not only are they good in Kizuna battles, not only are they good in new content, new Colosseums, new forests, new raids, they're also good in special content as well. For 0 staminas, for rank, they're good in everything. They can basically clear anything and everything. They have no drawbacks. They're not a Luffy either, so you can slap a Luffy on their team. What more can you want? This Shanks crew is mwah, gorgeous. I cannot emphasize the best legend in the game, hands down. Hands down. Followed by V2 Snake Man. I think V2 Snake Man is the 2nd best legend in the game, but if I was to score it, right? If I was to score it, Shanks crew, I would give 100 out of 100 score. V2 Snake Man, I would give like what? A 96.5 out of 100. And then Luffy Lore, I'd give them like a 95. So the differential between Luffy Lore and V2 Snake Man is so marginal. You know what? I take that back. I would personally put Luffy Lore and V2 Snake Man as joint 2nd best legend. However, I would say it's very situational. And I would say recently, I've been using both of them pretty much about the same as much as each other. So I'd say it's situational. They both do 2.5 times orb boost, which is the main part of their kit. Luffy Law have the very nice switch ability, a very broken switch ability, which is great as a sub, and also very good as a captain. And then with the Snake Man, V2 Snake Man, as a sub, he has the full board of orb manipulation. But as a captain, I gotta say though, what I saw from the Shattered Fortress and Sub-Consi doing the Garp challenges with this V2 Snake Man, I gotta say he is obviously like just flat out objectively better because he does it faster, right? He does it significantly faster as well compared to both Shanks' crew and also Luffy Law. So when it comes to these Garp challenges, V2 Snake Man, because he has a universal attack boost which cannot be interrupted in his kit, and he has the orb boost, 2.5 times, the highest in the game for a universal orb boost, I have to say he's a better captain. But as a sub, I do feel like Luffy Law might just be that little bit better because of the switch ability. But I would say it's very situational. So yes, as the second best legend captain in the game, I would probably put Snake Man there, V2. But as the second best overall legend in the game, second best sub out of these three, I would put Luffy and Law. It's very, very tight, guys. But I would say Shanks' crew is the best legend in the game. And I would say by a noticeable margin, but not a large margin. But I still think all of these three legends are the best three legends in the game. So do not get me twisted on that. These three belong in their own category alongside none other than Vivi and Rebecca, the best sub in the game outside of the Shanks crew. I think the Shanks crew are the #1 sub in the game, but Vivi Rebecca is the second best sub in the game because she is, or they are like a key. And when I say that, it's in the sense that if you do not have Vivi and Rebecca, I would say a good 50, maybe 60% of endgame content teams for these zero staminas, for these Garp challenges, for these forests, they just don't work. If you don't have Vivi and Rebecca, they're just not going to work. That's just how busted they are. And that goes for the same with the V2 Snake Man, the Luffy Law, and the Shanks crew, and somewhat to a degree Sabo and Koala, but I'll talk about them later. Those three captains, you don't have any of those, you're going to have a really, really rough time trying to beat these Garp challenges for the 13-star difficulty. So that is my take on all of those. You got Snake Man, you've got Luffy Law, and you got Shanks crew. They're all universal captains and universal subs. Do not forget about that, guys. Universal captains and universal subs. They all pair up incredibly well with everybody else. They can clear basically everything, albeit some of them may require more pay-to-win subs, but regardless, they can clear virtually everything in the game without problems. They're incredibly reliable. You can use them as friend captains. You can use them as your own captain to pair up with another captain, and they're not even leeching as well. Absurd abilities. They're just really, really busted. And of course, for the Luffy Law, they are Luffy and Law. They have amazing support units. For Luffy, he has amazing support units. So yes, Vivi and Rebecca, I would say just as a sub, really, really, really good switch ability. A universal 2.5 times chain lock, because all chain locks are universal, and it can, it counts as a debuff as well, which is nice. Healing, innate healing with the switch ability, or manipulation with the switching. For cerebrals and strikers, gives you color affinity of ×2, which is a very, very high amount for color affinity. Normally it's 1.75 times. And the best part of their special is they will remove infinite turns of enemy defense up or enemy percent damage reduction, which is a buff we see the enemy apply literally, I would say 50% of the time, maybe even more than that. It might even be more frequent than that. For the most recent Colosseums, for the most recent raids, they typically have one of these buffs applied to them. That is the best of the best of the best. These are the 4 best units in the game, hands down, in my opinion. If you have these 4 units in the game, you're living the dream. You are absolutely living the dream. And these first 3 units here, the overall package, they have the whole package, even as a captain, even as a sub. Amazing. The only thing they don't have are like completely busted support abilities, but even so, that's not a big deal because you're going to be running them as a crew unit most of the time. We are moving on to S2. Now for S2, I want to elaborate on, first of all, Douglas Bullet and Legend Kid, because as a captain, I would argue, especially in Douglas Bullet's case, that they are all on par, or these two are both on par. So Douglas Bullet and Legend Kid are on par with the Snake Man, the Luffy Law, and the Shanks crew as a captain. And if you were to put those two in S1 as a captain, then I would say that's fine, that's reasonable. and then to distinguish between all 5 of those, it would be a situational thing. It's like, what is your content? Because some of these, like Douglas Bullet, absolutely destroys these, whereas the other 3 might struggle a little bit. Then you have Legend Kid, who will obviously destroy any quick content. Any quick content, unrivaled. This Legend Kid is the go-to. The only one that can rival him is the Kaido. And that's only with the anniversary ship as well. Without the anniversary ship, things are going to get tricky. But with this Legend Kid, unrivaled for quick content. And with the Luffy, also unrivaled. Well, Luffy isn't really unrivaled though, is he? That Luffy, the V2 Snake Man Luffy, is not unrivaled for Dex content because the Douglas Bullet goes in hard. But yes, the Douglas Bullet has a color type advantage against everyone. Strength, quick, int boosters, which is, you know, 3 of the 5 classes. So 3 of the 5 typings rather. So he is essentially like a pseudo rainbow captain. And I would say he's just flat out a rainbow captain because he has a rainbow type advantage against everyone and a 4.75 times attack boost. I think this guy is not going to ever fall off until like what, 2022. I think it will take a very, very, very long time for this Douglas Bullet to become irrelevant. Like an extremely, extremely long time. People who cry about normal attack only are, you know, the ones that are eating glue. I'm sorry I have to say it, guys, but if you think normal attack only is a valid argument against Douglas Bullet, you don't understand this game. This guy has a 4.7. He's literally a captain only because he's a beat stick. You rarely gotta rely on his special ability because most of the time he just does the insane damage by himself. He don't need no special. He don't need no special. But when you can use his special, that opens up the avenues for him to do some very, very tricky content. He can do the latest Colosseum King. He can do Colosseum Kizaru. In fact, he was one of the best legends to use for Colosseum Kizaru because he just rinsed through it. Normal attack only, by the way, guys, is beginning to fade away. We have not seen normal attack only that prominently recently because Legend Kid, Legend Basil Hawkins, they all debuted recently and they're all captains that don't want to see normal attack only. I'm predicting that we're not going to see normal attack only for maybe, you know, at least 1 or 2 months. Let's move on to Snake Man. I'm going to pair Snake Man up here with Osoba Mask because Snake Man and Osoba Mask, both rainbow captains, like completely rainbow captains. They are both self-boosters. When I say self-booster, I mean they are the booster for their team. So you have Snake Man with the orb and the chain boost. You have the Osoba Mask, who is going to give you the attack boost and the orb manipulation. Snake Man will also give you some sort of orb beneficial, so somewhat pseudo orb manipulation, which is very, very nice. Both of these units can be argued to be top tier captains and also top tier subs. Snake Man V1, you know, which would be very silly of me to put him in S1 because just looking at his stat boosts, 3.25 times base, going into 4 times, into 4.25 times after X amount of perfects. I don't think is obviously as good as having just a flat 4.5 or 5 times attack boost, you know, so it's just not the same. And a 2 times orb boost is definitely not as good as a 2.5 times orb boost. So in that regard, I can't put him on that same degree, but his longevity has been insane. He has been a great servant of the game. Like anyone that pulled him early on, congratulations, because I'm sure we all abused him multiple times. This guy is the embodiment of future proof. He's the embodiment of leeching or pairing up with other captains, especially Kaido, especially Douglas Bullet. We see him paired up with so many different legends. He's just very, very, very versatile in that regard. Top tier captain. And then Osoba Mask, I think this Sanji is the best Kizuna Kessen sub. He's also very good in Garp challenges as a captain, also very good as a sub. And then to top it off, I'm sure for special pieces of content, Blitz battles, he's been good in the past. Ranking mission, he's been good in the past. So future proofing wise, he's up there. And I think endgame content, he has it in the bag as well. Not to the same degree as other legends here, but he definitely has it in the bag. Now, before we get to Chopper, we are going to talk about the other 2 utility gods, because Chopper is also a top tier utility sub. All 3 of these units, Chopper, Corazon, and Rayleigh, are top tier utility subs. I don't think anyone would debate that. The main point of having Corazon and Rayleigh here is, I'm sure everyone's guessed it, it's their support ability. Their support abilities are game changers. They're very much like Vivi and Rebecca in the sense that if you do not have their support ability maxed out, or you don't even have them in your box, there are so many Luffy lore teams, there are so many Luffy teams that you just cannot use because you need to have this Rayleigh or you need to have this Corazon as a support. Like, you absolutely need to have them. They are essential units to unlocking so many teams. I'm sure everyone appreciates if they have this Corazon and they have this Rayleigh. They can all appreciate how reliable they are. And not only that, when you look at GARP challenges, when you look at zero stamina challenges, these two are god tier subs for those challenges because they're very good utility units, and they're also very good for if you especially limit break that Corazon, that limit break plus him, the cooldown goes down a lot. Very good subs. Now Chopper is also the same in the sense that he's a very good sub, but his cooldown is high. But the main thing about this Chopper, guys, while he does get rid of virtually every single debuff in the game, what he's really good at is duplicating cotton candy. And cotton candy, if you are an endgame player, say it with me. The #1 commodity in the game is what? It's cotton candy. Everybody right now wants cotton candy. If you're an endgame player, you need cotton candy because we have got a PvP expansion which now lets us have plus 600 cotton candy. Not only is this amazing and essential if you want to do well in PvP, because that is going to be so good for your defense team, it's going to be so good for your attack team, but cotton candy, think about it, for legends like Kaido, legends like Blackbeard, legends like Douglas Bullet, think of the extra damage that having plus 200 bonus attack from another 100 attack candy is going to give you. But wait for it, that's another plus 200 attack for the support units, giving stat boost to this Blackbeard, to this Kaido, to this Douglas Bullet. And it just doesn't stop there. Every single unit benefits from more attack. Every single unit benefits from higher base stats, whether they're acting as a support unit, whether they're acting as a sub unit, or whether they're acting as a captain. So cotton candy right now, I so very badly wanted to put this Chopper all the way up into S1. That's how much I value him right now. Because if we're looking at an MVP criteria, this Chopper is really, definitely, absolutely up there. And he is no slouch as a sub as well. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on Chopper. I think S2 is a very fair placement for him. My personal bias, I don't even like Chopper that much as a character. I don't dislike him, don't get me wrong. I just think One Piece has so many amazing characters. Chopper just unfortunately doesn't make it into my top 10. Let me know, S2 or S1 for Legend Chopper, because this Chopper right now, if I can run Legend Chopper, this is how I felt about Buggy before. If I can run Legend Chopper anywhere, I am running. You bet him, you bet me, I am running him. I will try and find a team to run him because I am in a cotton candy drought and I want cotton candy. It's the cotton candy, I just can't get over it. I can't get over how good this Chopper is. Amazing captain ability. His sub ability, no slouch as well. He is a fantastic sub 2. I would say S1 worthy personally. He's a universal captain, by the way, guys. 3.5 times attack boost and HP boost, like 1.2 times or something like that. 1.25 to all units in the game. Very nice. 3.5 times is no joke. 3.5 times is no joke. But yeah, that is S1 and S2 completed. Let's move down into S3 and S4. Alrighty, S3 and S4. Now, for me personally, guys, in S3 and S4, I personally think you can collapse this row into one, or collapse these rows into one. So S3, S4, everyone is interchangeable based on your personal preference, or what the content you're doing is, or how you weight your priorities. I would say all of these are interchangeable. And maybe some of the units in S3 you might be able to put in S2, but I would absolutely not put any of these units near S1. However, S3, the reason I have put these 4 units above, I would say the one thing that differentiates with them is their constant reliability, their constant relevance in the Japan meta, how often they keep popping up. Whereas with S4, Mihawk and Perona, you know, they're never really the optimal captain or optimal sub to use. There's plenty of replacements for them, and I would say they only pop up in Kizuna Battle as, you know, a very good option. Everywhere else, for Colosseums or new raids, even if they can beat them, they're not having the easiest time in the world doing them. But I do think I disrespected them in the past, so I am going to put them on the same level as Carrot, Stampy, Luffy, and also the V3 Katakuri. Now with Carrot, as you guys know, I'm a massive fan of Legend Carrot. I don't even like Carrot that much in One Piece, but Sulong Carrot, and this is not the furry side of me, because I have no furry side, I promise you guys, but she is like one of my favorite legends of all time. Like when she came out, she was by far my favorite legend in the game to play with. I love the barrier passing playstyle. I love how fast she was. And I think whenever she can do any piece of content in the game, I will always default to her. Because running a team that takes anywhere from 1 minute 30 seconds to 2 minute 30 seconds to complete a challenge or complete a mission or complete a stage, it just doesn't get better than that. There is no one that gets better than that. You don't get faster speeds than Carrot. So when she can do it, she is insane. With the Stampy Luffy, likewise, but for int content. When int content comes out, and especially for content that comes out which like just wants to bum you with despair, wants to bum you with paralysis, you slap this Luffy on as your captain, maybe leech off someone else for extra damage bonus or damage potential, because he is a self-boosting captain, which is a big drawback for him specifically, because not really for Blackbeard, but for him specifically, then yeah, he is like the go-to, because he will speed things up, he will make your life easier, make team building way easier, as well. It's just overall very, very efficient. So Carrot and Luffy, very, very efficient. Moving on to V3 Katakuri. Now I want to talk about V3 Katakuri with regards to Blackbeard as well, because V3 Katakuri, when you pair him up with Blackbeard, I think that is one of the best duo combos. However, I also think double Blackbeard is just as good. So that's the thing here for Katakuri, is that I don't think double Katakuri is anywhere near as good as double Blackbeard, but Katakuri and Blackbeard is as good as double Blackbeard. I don't think Blackbeard needs Katakuri, but I think Katakuri sometimes needs the Blackbeard. And the thing with this is, I hate it because I love Katakuri. He's one of my favorite. He's a top 3 character of mine. He has my favorite voice actor, Tomokazu Sugita, behind him. But all of that bias aside, when I was trying to record footage for him, apologies, I haven't put this gameplay out yet, by the way, guys, for a showcase for Blackbeard, showcase for Sabo, and showcase for the Katakuri. I have done Kid, and I've also done Luffy, but this Katakuri, oh my god, he is such a pain in the ass to team build for. I know I'm not the only one, because I am now going to say it loud and clear. This is a general consensus. This captain is very tedious to team build for. And the reason why is because, one, he does not have any beneficial orbs. He does not have any orb manipulation or any orb control whatsoever. Right? That is a big, big, big drawback. 2, he needs, if you either have to, 1, play the extremely annoying and tedious method of cutting your own HP by letting the enemy damage you. It's so tedious. I cannot emphasize what a pain in the ass this is. Or 2, you have to sacrifice a slot on your team to bring someone that is going to be a self-HP cutter. And a lot of the times, the self-HP cutter doesn't really serve much purpose for the specific piece of content that you want to do, because their specials are so very, very specific. In terms of the new Enel, he will cut your HP. That's great, right? He's going to cut your HP, and then he's going to change your orbs. But he doesn't change block orbs. So that's a bit of a big drawback. If he doesn't change block orbs, you know, and you need someone to change block orbs, you either got to use a very pay-to-win support in Brûlé, or you gotta bring another orb manipulator on your team, which is just counterproductive. You don't need to bring all of these units, for other legends, for other legend teams. So this Katakuri, I would say this is quite the big drawback. For the Nami, yes, she does give you a chain lock, 3 times chain lock if you have 5 or more int units. But that's it. That's it. There's nothing else. There's no orb manipulation. So that's, when you take into consideration orb manipulation or block orb manipulation, there's just no one. There's no one that will cut your HP for you and do that at the same time. You want one unit that gives you at least 2 or 3 very useful utility things here that Katakuri just doesn't have yet. He just doesn't, unfortunately, have that yet. And I think that is a very, very big drawback of his. However, what I am going to say, though, is even though this is not sensible to do, like running an int captain into non-Sai content, he can beat Colosseum Kizaru. I believe him and Blackbeard can beat Colosseum King. And that goes to show how powerful they are. They don't even have type advantage. That's just a testament to how good they are. But at the same time, using those teams is way worse than using other teams that are just sensibly built for that. And when I say sensibly built, as in they're more efficiently built, they're going to clear those Colosseums way faster than any of these two ever will. So outside of side content, this V3 Katakuri, I just don't see him really excelling anywhere, or you're really going to see him used that much. He's just a pain in the ass to play with. The other big drawback for him is, at first I didn't think this was too big of an issue, is his damage reduction. He has 30% damage reduction, which is the highest of any captain, if I'm not mistaken. 30% damage, actually no, because Lion Song Zoro is like 80%, but 30% damage reduction with a 5 times attack boost when your HP is below 50%. But you gotta be below 50%. And this Katakuri doesn't boost your HP, so below 50% is very easy to get into, but also very risky to get into. And let me give you an example of this. Let's say this Katakuri, your team has 20,000 HP. If the enemy hits for 11,000 damage, right, and then you attack the following turn and auto heal 1,000, you're gonna go from 20k HP down to 9,000 because the enemy hit you for 11k, and then you're gonna heal up to 10,000 HP. Now that HP value means you do not have the damage reduction because you're not under 50%. You have to be under 50%. So he will not have that damage reduction there. And then when the enemy attacks you again, you're gonna die because the enemy does 11,000 damage and you only have 10k HP. And I hate that. I hate that so much. I think it's so tedious when the mechanic is like that. When it's that close and the auto healing is constantly making you like trying to do like 500 IQ plays, like, oh, do I hit a great here for the meat orb, or do I hit a perfect? Do I want this pinch healing? Do I ignore it? What should I do? It's just like you don't need to have all these extra layers to your gameplay unless you're like literally copying someone else's team. If you want to play for yourself and be individual on the game, this legend I do not think is the best captain in the world. So yes, that is my rant with Katakuri over. I wish he was way better. I wish he had that maybe at like 60-70% HP would have been way better, but at 50%, I think it's too risky because you might take some hits and you'll be at 60% HP. When you're at 60% HP, that could be anywhere like 15-16k HP, and a lot of mini bosses now will deal that much damage to you and it will just kill you. So I think that's a big drawback of his. But he's actually a very good sub as well if you pair him up with 6+ Usopp, because he's a universal attack boost and conditional boost 2 times for both of them. So he's a good sub as well, but I don't think you'll see much use of him as a sub. Moving on, let's go on to Blackbeard. Now Blackbeard, damage goes Kaido, damage goes, you know, what more do I need to say? This Blackbeard is extremely safe to play with. He has an absurd amount of HP. You can whack on so many different units. Shirahoshi, Mancherry, normal Shirahoshi, Ain for the healing. It's just, there's just so many good subs. 5 times captains coming through from Katakuri, and also the Blackbeard, although Blackbeard's is only a self boost, but at the same time, very nice. The highest damage dealer in the game right now is indeed this Blackbeard. But as I've said many times, guys, damage is the least important statistic, because if you can kill an enemy with 40 million HP and you only need 40 million damage, that's it. You don't need 400 million damage to kill an enemy that has 40 million HP. Kaido, speed running king. If you can use him, he's a speed running demon. Guard challenges, speed running demon. He can't do the 13 stars though, so that's a big drawback. Kizuna battle, he's definitely not a good Kizuna battle captain. Do not use this guy as a Kizuna battle captain. He will flop there. So that's why he's down in S3, guys. I know a lot of people would put him up as one of the best legends in the game. I do not disagree. I'm very happy I do have him now. But realistically speaking, for a lot of stuff like Garp challenges, for Kizuna battle, a lot of new Colosseums, a lot of new raids, he just can't do them. Although recently he can. He can because they're quick units, the boss stages. But outside of that, he can't do them. So it's pretty simple. If he can do them, he's one of the fastest, probably second only to Carrot. But if he can't do them, then he's a bit of an oof. But he's a very brain dead captain to play with. We also have Luffy Sora and Sabo Koala, who have been getting a bit of love because we have got some more free spirit units, which is very nice. Cerebral are always very good too. So Luffy Zoro, Sabo Koala. I would say Luffy Zoro's 1-0 orbs are going to see a lot more play now that we are beginning to see Perfect Orb Block. Now, with Perfect Orb Block coming back, 1-0 orbs, or Wa orbs rather, really really good. I cannot stress how good those orbs are. You compare this Luffy Sora up with, for example, Shanks' crew, which is going to be a really, really nice crew to pair up with the V2 Snake Man, with not Luffy lore, but well, kind of Luffy lore, but not really Luffy lore. But yes, this Luffy Zoro, really, really, really good as a captain, really good as a sub. The only drawback is that they're restricted by classes, Free Spirit and Slasher. And Slasher is not the best in the world. It's definitely not the worst in the world, but it's not the best in the world. We've got Cerebral Free Spirit for Sabo and Koala, which is really nice. Their base boosts, also like Luffy Zoro, are not great. Like, they're sitting at 3 times, 3.25 times, which is not the best in the world. And their switch abilities, really, really nice. Both of them have amazing switch abilities. But I would say, again, they're restricted in the sense that they can only boost certain classes. I think type captains or universal captains are flat out better. Like Douglas Bullet's type restrictions is really, really nice. You can have way more subs that way. But yeah, with Sabo Koala, they are like a key, just like this Vivi Rebecca. Although I think this key is less useful now because of all these new units like Shanks' crew, V2 Snake Man, Douglas Bullet, the new Legend Kid. You don't need Sabo Koala as much as you do before. Like before, when they came out, they were like the best legend in the game. Honestly, like as soon as they came out, they were as good as Luffy lore. But as time passed, they, you know, kind of dwindled off a bit. But I would still say they're top tier captain, top tier sub for Free Spirit and Cerebral units. So again, really top class legend there. Let's move on to the subs. Now the subs here, Cracker and V2 Shanks. Now, I don't really need to explain these guys. These guys have amazing orb manipulation. They increase your damage with a chain boost. Cracker gives color affinity, and he gives 2 turns for the chain boost and the color affinity. The orb manipulation is superb. V2 Shanks, we are in a mono-type meta. He is a mono-type booster, so that's really nice. Full orb manipulation. What more can you ask for? Block orbs included. And 2.25 times attack boost, which is lovely. A lot of orb boosters these days, so we still like to see attack boost. And 0.9 plus 0.9 to the chain. So really, really good. Great for Kizuna battle. Great for 0 staminas. When it comes to damage, and you want more damage, and you want the damage to go, then these two are your go-to. I don't think anyone will contest that. Other than maybe they should have been an S2. Let me know your thoughts. We have got Nami Robin, Halloween Ace, and this Big Mom in the row below in S4. Now, Nami Robin and Halloween Ace, I've put in here because, 1, they're amazing subs, but 2, they're also very, very good captains. Halloween Ace as well, I would say, is going to go upwards. He's going to have an upwards trend because we are getting more fighter units. We have gotten more fighter units. That V2 Snake Man pairs really, really well with this Halloween Ace. He works well as a sub, as well as a captain, as like a duo captain, and also, incidentally, as a support. This Halloween Ace support ability, one of the best in the game, reduces 3 turns of bind on a Luffy or Sabo unit. So a very, very, very nice support ability. Very good captain ability in reducing these 2 annoying things that happen to you, Special Rewind and Special Silence, by 10 turns. Very, very nice. Only a 4 times attack boost. And listen to me, guys. 2020, I'm saying only a 4 times attack boost, as if 4 times is not enough. 4 times is a lot. It's a lot, guys. But it's obviously not a lot as compared to like 4.25 or 4.5 times, or even 5 times that we're seeing now. But 4 times is still very good. The one downside is he only boosts fighters, which is good, and shooters. Sorry if you can hear that banging, but yeah, shooters, shooters, not that great. But this Halloween Ace, 2.5 times attack boost for fighter units, for shooter units, which is superb. 2.5 times attack boost is the highest in the game right now for a boost that applies to more than 1 unit. So yes, I do think this is amazing. Likewise for Robin, it's a 2.5 times orb boost and 10 turns paralysis reduction. Ace is 10 turns bind reduction, so they both have utility plus a huge damage boost. So I think they deserve to be in this tier. Like, that amount of damage is not something to like sweep under the rug. It's absurd. They cover 2 classes or 2 types, which is a lot of variety. And of course, right now they're quite relevant because fighters have seen a lot of love. And we've also seen here that Dex and Int getting a lot of love as well. So it would be silly not to have Nami and Robin here, considering how relevant right now, in this moment right now, they are very, very relevant. V2 Big Mom, also int unit, very, very relevant right now for the int units. However, compared to the other Kizuna Kessen big boys there, of Cracker and V2 Shanks, I don't think she is on the same level. I think she, if I had to pick who to drop out, it has to be her, because I don't think she's as useful. I don't think she fits on as many teams. And you also have that HP requirement where if you're under 50% HP, she doesn't actually get the chain lock, which is a little bit sad. And then lower your HP, obviously the base attack stat boost part of her special is also decreased as well. Her switch ability is okay, but for the teams you're going to be using her on, it's not that huge. She is like, I would say, a worse version of the Shanks crew. So yes, she's nice, but I had to drop her down because I don't think her longevity is anywhere near as valuable as this V2 Shanks, as this Cracker. I think these two are going to just keep going up in usability and usefulness. I think this V2 Big Mom is going to stagnate. I don't think she's going to drop. I think she's just going to stagnate and plateau here in like the S4 and maybe S3 regions in the future. But yeah, I still think she's amazing. Guys, bear in mind, this is like still the top 20 subs of like 100, or top 20 units of 100 legends. And then when we're just looking at subs, this V2 Big Mom is still easily like, I wouldn't say easily, but she's like around the top 10 of subs. So yeah, keep that in mind. She's still very, very good. Let's move on to S5. And have I covered everyone here? I have covered everyone, right? S5 and S6. Sorry guys, I'm very, very tired and this video is very long now. Apologies. But S5 and S6, we're going to blitz through that. Apologies guys, it's been a very, very long video. But S5 and S6, let's blitz through this. The new legend Sabo. Now I know the Sabo fanboys are not going to be happy with this placement, but this Sabo cannot do anything other than Dex content unless he's leeching off a Douglas bullet. And a lot of stuff, even for Dex content, this man does rely on a lot of powerful subs. He's going to be amazing for Dex Kizuna battle. But outside of that, maybe Dex Garp challenges. Outside of those two things, you're never going to use this guy as a captain. I do not recommend using this guy as a captain outside of the things where you need damage goes. But outside of that, he's very, very restricted. He's so restricted to using strength units. And the thing that I wish, like, if this Sabo, imagine guys, imagine this Sabo had universal color affinity and not just limited to strength units. Disgusting. Would have been absolutely disgusting. That would have made him, hands down, an S1 sub, no contest, because he has two buffs that carry over into the next room. He has a color affinity and he has a chain boost, a +1 chain boost, which is a big amount. That's the second highest in the game. That would carry over into the next room. But the color affinity only works on strength units, so it's really good for Douglas Bullet or any other strength unit going to Dex units, but otherwise it's completely redundant, which is really, really sad. That's why I have to put him down in S5 as a sub. Again, outside of Douglas Bullet, that color affinity is just wasted on so many teams, so I can't put him in S4. I have to say he is the worst of the batch. He's the least usable of the batch. We have seen the least use out of him from all content creators, from all major Twitter Japan players. This Sabo has definitely received the least love, and it's not really his own fault. It's more so just the content we're receiving on Japan right now. There's really no place for this guy to play because we haven't received any Dex bosses. So until we get Dex content, he's not going to shine. But when we do get Dex content, and if we start getting flood of it, he can definitely move all the way up into like S3. But until that happens, I got to keep him down in S5, guys. I only think that's fair because right now, he just really doesn't see any play. He's not the most optimal for anything. And like, if he was to be the most optimal unit for anything, it would be Kizuna Battle. And even then, you've got a lot of other strength units that you can use. And he's not like the sole standout captain as well. He's not like miles ahead of everyone else either. So that, I think, is something that's really, really sad for him. And it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that he's a Douglas Bullet sub and he relies so much on Douglas Bullet. But, you know, it's a nice buff to Douglas Bullet. It's a nice buff to Douglas Bullet. We've got Jack, Legend Jack, and we've got Legend Basil Hawkins. Now, Legend Jack is very self-explanatory. He boosts your EXP earned. EXP, very, very valuable now. Pirate level goes a long way now. The more stamina you have, the more farming you can do. But again, that's a personal preference thing. If you don't like farming, then obviously you don't care about having Legend Jack. Legend Basil Hawkins, I think, is low-key underrated. I think this guy, double Legend Basil Hawkins, can clear a lot of stuff. His super typing allows him to essentially not die, because he will, I think, any damage over 500, reduce it by like 99% or something absurd. So he's very tanky. He has a HP boost. He has 2 tons if you're using double Hawkins. So what I'm about to describe is double Hawkins here. With double Hawkins, you're relatively tanky. All your enemies will have an additional 2-turn delay. That's not actually a delay, but like they will start with 2 turns added onto their standard starter, which is pretty insane. He will cut the enemy HP by 10%, then followed by another 10% every single turn at the end of every single turn. And you have 3 turns of essentially at max 6 million tap timing bonus damage. Now, normal attack only is absolutely going to ruin him. Don't get me wrong. Normal attack only is his worst nightmare. As soon as that debuff comes through, this guy is useless. But if that debuff is not there, this guy can clear so much stuff. Because 6 million damage with 3 times attack boost or 2.75 times for everyone is not bad at all. You got the 6 million tap timing damage, which lasts 3 turns. You have 3 turns to kill your enemy because you have delayed them for 2 turns. And you're cutting their HP by 10% as well during each of those turns. So very few bosses will actually be able to live through that. And I think this Basil Hawkins is a super safe, super brain dead legend to use. At the very least, even if you think he's trash, guys, in the current Japanese meta, he is one of the best legends to use right now for the new content, because all the new content we're getting are quick bosses. So with that in mind, even the new treasure map that's incoming is going to be a quick boss. So yes, I do think this Basil Hawkins at least deserves to be S5. Whether or not you think he's a good captain or not wouldn't matter too much, because even as a sub, this guy is amazing. Oh, bear in mind, as a sub, he does 500 times his attack as well. So that's 1 million bonus damage. So yes, I think this legend, very, very brain dead. I low-key want to put him all the way up in S4, even maybe S5. S3, guys. That's how good I think this Basil Hawkins can be. I haven't pulled him. If I pull him, I'd be very, very happy to test him out for double Basil Hawkins, but I do think this guy can definitely move up. He is very much like V2 Katakuri, 6+ Usopp, and Brook, all put together. All of those 3 legends combined into one is this Basil Hawkins. I do think this Basil Hawkins, as long as there's no normal attack only, and we haven't seen it for a while now, guys, very, very good. Let's blitz through now. Sorry, I went off on a tangent there too much. I'm beginning to slur my words because I've been talking for so long non-stop. Right. The bottom row here. The first 3, all great captains. You all know what they do. You've got a driven captain, you've got a powerhouse captain, you've got a silent ink captain. They're all very good. They all go up to 4.25 times attack boost when they're in their dual forms, which is superb. Before that, the attack boosts are way, way, way lower, down at 3.5 or 3.25 or 3 times even, which is okay. Not bad at all. And the switch abilities are both okay. In fact, they're actually very good. As a sub, all of their switch abilities are very, very top tier. Those 3, I've decided to put them S6 because not only are they good as captains, they're very, very good as subs as well. I would even argue they're way better as subs than captains, but as you guys can see, I can only fit a maximum of 4 subs in each row. Legend Buggy. Now, Legend Buggy I used to have all the way up in S1, but his value has dropped so much. Ever since Chopper came out, and ever since the value of cotton candy has gone through the roof with the PvP update, Chopper has just skyrocketed. Buggy has gone down because you should be using Chopper instead. But outside of that, Buggy is still very, very nice to have. Daily Island, you still want to be running him every single time to get those bonuses. But the more end game you become and the more you grind treasure map mode, the more you grind Kizuna battle, the less, you know, reliance on Buggy you will have. But for all beginner or mid-game players, this Buggy is still god tier. Don't get me wrong. So this Buggy can go anywhere from S6 to S1 depending on your box. Let's move on to Quickbeard. Now, Quickbeard, V2 Katakuri, Pudding, and also this Shirahoshi, and Mancherry. I would say V2 Whitebeard, or V3 Whitebeard, or Quickbeard, or Deadbeard, whatever you want to call him. I always call him Deadbeard, but people don't like me calling him that. I'm sorry, but he is dead, and he has a beard. He is Deadbeard. So Deadbeard is a very good sub for Powerhouse and Striker units. That's it, though. Powerhouse and Striker units, not the best class in the world anymore. Powerhouse was on top for a while, but right now I don't think Powerhouse is too high up. Good captain. HP captain, but I still think he's a good captain. Sub-wise, top sub. Support-wise, top support. Unfortunately, he only supports Ace. Gets rid of Despair. Actually, he might support the other Whitebeard pirates, but Ace is the main one. And 3 tons of Despair removal is pretty insane as a support ability, so he definitely deserves to be in S tier. The last 3 units here, the last 3, before I go into the S5 subs, the last 3 here, they're all niche. That's pretty much it. They're all niche. V2 Katakuri is niche. You won't use him outside of niche purposes. That's pretty much all he's good for nowadays, unfortunately. Shirahoshi Mancherry, likewise. On paper, they look really good. Remove 10 turns of any debuff you're inflicted with, as long as it's an icon debuff. But icon debuffs are not the worst debuffs in the world. Icon debuffs are stuff like burn, increased damage taken, you know, normal attack only. Those are like icon debuffs. The main debuffs we want to see that they could get rid of, that they can't actually get rid of: bind, despair, special rewind, special silence, paralysis, orb seal. I mean, the switch ability deals with orb seal and special silence, but it's just one turn. It's just one turn, and it's not good enough. So imagine if they got rid of 10 turns of any of those. That would be busted. But unfortunately they don't. It's just icon stuff like that, which is okay. You won't really use them in Colosseums or raids outside of like the odd maybe once every 2 or 3 months you'll use them, but that's it. Pudding is one that I think on paper she looks so good. She's so powerful on paper, but there's just so many other options that you just don't need her. And most of the time, if you wanted to fit her in your team, she's actually a waste of a slot. If you're running double captains, it's almost impossible to fit her in your team, because if you're running double captains and you're running good double captains, they will most likely have most of your damage boost covered. And there's no need outside of the mini boss stage and the boss stage to repeat those damage boosting specials. So that's why she's redundant most of the time. Because like, what are you going to do? You're going to use a damage boosting special on a fodder stage and then copy it again when you still have another activation left. It's just counterproductive. However, I'm sure in stuff like Garp challenges, she may have her usages. She can replace probably several units there. And I think for the monotype meta, for the int units in the future, I think, this is just a guess, but I do think her potential in the future is through the roof. I think it's really high, and that's why I put her in S tier. I think right now though, on paper she looks good, but in practice you just don't see her used very often because there's just no place to use her really. She doesn't excel anywhere, which is the unfortunate thing. Like, she's never the best go-to sub for anything, which is very unfortunate right now, because I think when she came out on paper I was like, damn, this is like the best sub in the game. Yeah, we have to drop her all the way down, unfortunately, all the way down to S6. We have got Inuarashi and Nekomamashi. We have got Nami, and we have got the new Kuzan, and we've also got this 6+ Garp, who is really nice. I really like the 6+ Garp. The best sprite in the game, by the way, by the way, guys, in the game. Holy moly, I can't talk, I'm so tired. It's him holding up the cannonball like that. You love to see it, the cannonball chain. But yes, Nekomamashi Inuarashi, 1.75 times attack boost and color affinity for cerebral and striker units. Hit 2 perfects, and then boom, you get a 2.25 times orb boost the following turn. It's okay, it's okay. It's okay. The thing with this is that the best part of their special is that they give a 1.75 times attack boost and color affinity. The bad part is that's the first half of their special, because we have so many orb boosters. It's like, okay, well, you can use them with Sabo and Koala, but most of the other captains you can use them with. You can also use them with Zoro and Perona. Zoro, Mihawk and Perona. But most of the other places you can use them, you already got an orb boost, so you're actually only just using them for the attack boost and color affinity, which could be better because they're only 1.75 times each. So not bad at all. Their switchability is okay, but you should never run these units as a captain. They're just nowhere near optimal for anything, so I just don't recommend using them as captain. At dual form, they only have a 4 times attack boost, which I don't think is good enough for a 4 times attack, you know, for a dual unit in 2020. We have Nami. She's got a bit of utility. Unfortunately, 3 turns of burn and paralysis removal. If it was 5 turns, I would have put her in like S3, maybe even S2. But 3 turns nowadays is not enough. We're seeing like 5-turn burns, 5-turn paralysis. 3 turns, unfortunately, not enough these days. She does give color affinity and orb boost to a lot of units in the game. And she's also a good dex captain. So a solid S5 there. We've got Aokiji, who basically does the same thing for strength, dex, and quick units. And his captain ability is okay. Chain boosting captain is not that great because their boosts are only 1.75 times plus the chain boost, whereas Sabo's is like 4 times boost plus the chain boost, which is way better. But yes, this Kuzan I don't think is that great as a captain. As a sub, he's superb. Great in PvP, but we don't really care too much about PvP right now. I think he has a pretty good support ability as well. The Nami also has a pretty good support ability as well. Lots of chonky stats from the Nami as support. Garp, last but not least, the most recent unit released into the game. 6+ legend Garp reduces silence by 7 turns. 30% HP cut that goes through barriers and a 3.25 times chain lock. And that is a stage 2 special. On stage 1, obviously it's going to be a lower HP cut. It's going to be less silence reduction. But it's going to be a 3.25 times chain lock nonetheless. And this is very much like Guild to Zoro in the sense that you can slap this on because the cooldown is so low. You can slap this on a lot of Kizuna Kessen teams, a lot of Kizuna battle teams, even when he's not boosted, because the mini boss stage will give you preemptive sometimes, or the boss stage will give you the preemptive, or the first stage will give you preemptive. And then with all of those preemptives combined, he's going to have his special ready on the boss stage. So you can slap him on so many different teams. I think he's very good. Even outside of that, he's proving to be a fantastic captain. 3 times attack boost, good, great, perfect, means a 4.5 times attack boost with a 1.5 times HP boost, no less. And he's a rainbow captain as well. So he is a good captain. Not bad at all. Very good sub. So yeah, solid S5, maybe even S4 worthy. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, guys. I think some of the subs I could definitely see moving up all the way even up to S3 or S4. But yeah, that is it from me, guys. That was a very long video. Apologies, but we covered so many legends today. I hope you have enjoyed that. If you are able to listen to all of that, you are mad men or mad women, mad boys, mad lads, mad ladettes, mad gals. But thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. If you listened all the way to the end or you listened even halfway through the video, I really do appreciate it, guys. Please let me know your thoughts and opinions on these units, where you think I've gone wrong, where you think I've done well, what you agree and disagree with. I will be reading every single comment in the comment section down below, and I will be replying to basically all of them except for the ones where they come across as very ignorant in the sense that they clearly didn't listen to the stipulations. They clearly just looked at this and they're like, why have you put this here and here and here and here when I play with this legend does all of this for me? And it's just like, okay, well, you know, that's cool. That's you. That's just how it is. I'm sorry about that ending, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.